Hi friends, hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Martyna, and today I would love to start decorating the pages in this no-sew journal, which I will of course have a playlist for you guys linked down below with all the videos that I've done with this journal so far if you would like to catch up. But basically we've recently made this little cute no-sew accordion style journal together, and yeah, I don't have a plan really. Let me just untie this ribbon. I don't have a plan on what I want to do. I think I want to, well, these are the clusters that we've made, I believe, a video or two ago. I will also have that in the description box. But I think maybe I would like to use some of those on the pages, maybe make a tag spot out of them. Don't know yet what I would put in it. And also perhaps something interactive, maybe like an easy flip out. I have this piece of a junk mail envelope. This is, let me show you. This is literally just cut. I just cut a window out of a junk mail envelope, and so I was thinking maybe a flip out like that, something along these lines, and then I don't know, maybe some words, maybe some quote underneath, and then perhaps one of those clusters with something tucked underneath it. I don't know. Like I said, not really, I don't really have a plan yet, but yeah, if you would like to join me for this cozy junk journal with me session and just adding some simple interactive bits to our journals, then I would love to have you. Perhaps grab a cozy drink and let's get started. So what I'm thinking I would like to start with, because I definitely would love to add one of those clusters on the pages, and then let's say I want to attach the flip out element, or like a, yeah, it's going to like flip out probably like that, or maybe this way. So the flip out, I don't want to have it on the first page because I already have some stitching. Also, this is this is my cover on the reverse side. So however I attach it, unless I do it with washi tape like here, it's going to show up on the cover. And I was thinking of maybe kind of keeping with the theme of hand stitching and attaching it in the same way. So then of course I don't want to stitch through the cover. So I think I would have the flip out maybe on this page, and this could actually be nice for some words or something like that. We will figure this out. And then a tuck spot on this left hand side. But then the problem is, when I look at this, am I in frame? Yes. And the problem is that this is quite busy and I don't feel like the tuck spot stands out enough. So I was thinking about perhaps adding some gesso. I already have some gesso on this brown piece of paper that I used, so it actually would kind of match what's already going on these pages. So adding some gesso over maybe some of those more busy patterns that I have going on in the background, kind of pushing it further into the background, what we already have here. Maybe adding some coffee staining, maybe adding some stamping, just making this background seem more like a background than a focal point in and of itself, so that my focal point, whatever I choose to put it, will stand out more. So I have my gesso here, which this This gesso is honestly on its last legs. I've already ordered a new jar, but this one is just a white gesso from a Polish brand, Renaissance. And you could apply it to the page in several ways. So you could use a brayer like this and just go over the pages like that. You could use a spatula, you could use a paintbrush perhaps, which I think maybe is what I'm going to do, a paintbrush or a spatula. You could also, if you don't have a spatula or a brayer, a great way to apply gesso in this sort of like a more organic, I suppose, manner would be to use an old card, like a gift card, credit card, something, some plastic card that's expired, and just smoosh the gesso over the page. And I think I'm going to go for something like this first, and then maybe I will do some dry brushing because I seem to already have something like this here. So let me see if this is going to work with this old gesso, because it's gotten quite thick. And so let me see. Okay, so whatever I put here will probably cover the dog, which I am not sure I want here, so that's perfectly fine. And then it would also cover this part. So let me just start by adding some gesso this way. And some of those spots that I think will be visible. Maybe I should actually put something underneath my paper, underneath my journal, rather. Maybe not this. Okay, this is just a piece of brown paper, just so I don't get my desk even more messy than it already is. So let me first apply gesso this way to both sides here. I am trying to focus a little bit on those spots where the different papers meet, to sort of blend them in a little bit more, and maybe make them like less of separate elements and more as a piece of this one whole. And then I would perhaps take my brush. This is just a dry brush, and go over some of those to soften those edges a little bit. Perhaps I should use a smaller one. Now this gesso, like I said, it's not as flowy as it could be, but we will just have to deal with that. Let me add, I could also try, you know what, maybe I will. I could also try white acrylic paint. I should have some. I like what I have here. This is kind of messy, and I like this thicker layer of gesso, but I think I would like a bit of a lighter wash. So let me look for some white acrylic paint. Okay, so I added some paints on this piece of plastic. I have my titanium white. This one is Flesh Tint Deep, and these are from Renaissance again. And then this one is, I'm not going to try to butcher this name, but this color is called Ochre Rose. And I think I may just try to do something with those. And I am using a dry brush, not adding water to it, because I am actually looking to see some of those brush strokes. So this is much more, let me try some maybe here over the washi tape. This is much more subtle than the gesso on this side, and again just lightly going over some of those patterns, because I knew when I was collaging this background, I knew that I would want to cover at least some of it up, if not most of it up, when I came to decorating the pages. Now I'm not focusing that much on this here because like I said, I'm pretty sure I want to have my my cluster slash tag spot there. I will add some on the third page just to keep it a bit cohesive. No idea what's going to go on this page yet. Alrighty, and then how about, so let's see, I actually have those two paint colors that I have here are in a lot of those clusters because I use them to do some mark making and then some swatches, so it all should fit really nice. So let me maybe just mix some of this pink with white. And see if I can add it just very lightly. This is a very pretty color. Again, okay, sorry about that. Took a little bit of a break as my husband came home and now he's out again. So I just kept mindlessly adding some of this very light wash of paint here. And now I'm thinking, would I like to add some of this color as like little mark making all over the page? Well, not all over, perhaps just I suppose in some spots. Just so that I have the same colors on those two pages, or three I suppose. I'm kind of going over this page here as well, as I will have with my tag spots. Okay, so now that that is done, I would like to let it dry a little bit. So perhaps because I still have some paint, let me just grab my scraps box, or I could actually keep adding little marks to this brown paper that I used. Maybe just some brush strokes. So that I can then have some interesting scraps. Maybe I could do a tiny 2 or 3 color swatch because I've been loving these recently. So let me find a piece of paper, maybe this piece of tea stained paper. And I'm just going to make a little swatch of this pink, maybe one more somewhere. Oops. My scraps are a bit overflowing as they get. Oh, maybe on this tiny piece of, I believe it was ledger paper. So I don't waste this paint. And then this can be just torn into small like scrap pieces. Then I would like perhaps a much lighter color. So I will mix the remaining white with this pink. And just some mark making and some dry brushing. And I actually have this piece of book page on which I did some like brush strokes, so maybe I could add a little bit of this color. And I think these would be just fun to either use as separate pieces, like cut them apart, or maybe just cut through them like this and use them as a bit of collage. So there is that, and I also have this color, slightly more orangey in tone, but also just very pretty. Now let's add a little bit of that over what we have here, and some of them maybe I will actually add like chunkier pieces of paint, more paint on my brush, because what I like about acrylic paint is that it can give you a really nice texture. It will of course have to dry completely for that, but it should give us some great texture. And then I am mixing my remaining colors, hoping I can achieve a different variety. I think it's quite different enough for it to be put on a swatch like this. Oops, and maybe, I don't know, maybe just a little bit of paint on this little scrap piece of paper. And then again, just really cleaning my brush like that. And I have some stamping here from a previous project, from when we were actually making those clusters. So this will be nice together, I think. Some stamping, some painting. And again, this of course looks like a mess. This looks like someone just cleaned their brush on it, which is exactly what I am doing. But when it is torn into smaller pieces, it should be quite interesting. Okay, let me use a baby wipe, and I will wash my brush when I'm done filming, because I just don't feel like it getting up now, to be honest. Maybe I can get enough paint of this plastic to then reuse it for the next project, which is great. So this I'm going to be putting on the floor to dry. Let's see how this is looking. Okay, I think I will give it just a quick like dry with my heat tool. Okay, so this needs to dry, this needs to dry, and where's my, oh, did I lose my other, so, oh no, here it is. Okay, so I will also dry these. Yeah, just a little bit with my heat tool, so I will be right back. Okay, so while I think this is now sufficiently dried, I think I would like to use some coffee. So I have some in a cup and I have some in a little spritz bottle, and I'm just thinking, how do I want to do it? Now, doing it with a brush will give me more control, but actually let me first try. So I'm grabbing my plastic, oh, it's probably not the same one, my plastic packaging, and I'm going to spritz some coffee. This needs to be more vertical, and then perhaps just smoosh my papers a little bit, making a mess. Now I feel like it's more, oh, I like how it's just went there a little bit, because I feel like this will give me like the most, I don't know, random effect, you know? And maybe I could actually, if I wanted to, oh, just add some, just spritz here and there. Maybe here as well. I really don't want this to wet the other side. I don't know what we have there, but okay, I like it. And let me just give it a quick dry again. Okay, I am liking it. I can already see that these will just stand out so much more wherever I decide to put them, because like everything else is just a little bit pushed back. However, I think my last sort of painty step will be just a tad bit more of white, because some of those colors again turned out a little bit more saturated. So let me just give a little bit of a light wash of white paint in some spots. I do love some of those places where the coffee pooled though, and then it dried. Yes, I like it. It just adds, I don't know, like a little bit of perhaps a whimsical little layer over everything. And so on this, I'm pretty sure we will be able to build our focal points slightly better. Awesome. And let's see, I should probably change this again, or just let me remove it completely so this can dry there. Okay, so my idea, I think, would be to have a collaged window flip out on this hand side, and then a cluster on this one. And I was thinking, do I want a cluster where I already have a flower? Like maybe this one, I think it would look super pretty. Or do I perhaps want one without a flower, a focal point, and then I would add a focal point to this window. And I think I want to do that because I think it would look really lovely just overlapping the window and then slightly covering what we have under. So you'd have to flip it up to see it completely. So let me maybe try to just roughly even this out. I'm probably going to make it even more crooked this way, but I guess it's fine. And let's see what scraps we can use for this. And maybe actually, will this be too big? Oh no, I think it would actually be perfect. Oh, is it a perfect width? Almost. It's like a tiny bit, like, I suppose I could try to trim it even more on both sides. That would just be so satisfying to have this random scrap just fit perfectly here. Yes. And now I am just going to go through my little scraps box and perhaps pull out some things that I think would look nice here. Oh, this is definitely overflowing, so I should definitely use up some of the scraps more. Maybe this way. So how about I actually start gluing? I think I'm going to take my sweater off. It was actually quite cool when I started filming, but then I think the heat tool just brought the temperature in my craft room up, and I am okay with those papers. I don't yet know about this edge, where if I will actually like trim the scraps, but I am okay with them going over the window. So I would like something small, maybe here. So I am going to go for neutral colors, because I don't yet know, again, what my focal point will be, what flower I will be able, I will want to choose. And now this glue stick is pretty much done. So I'm going to have to grab a new one soon. Not yet though. I guess I can still use this. And so because I used larger scraps in the background, yes, and despite, you know, the paint and all of the layers, some of those are still visible. I think I want to go for smaller scraps on this flip out, just for something different. Yeah, I definitely need a new glue stick, so I'm just going to go and grab it. How many times will I pause this video today? Right, I actually forgot I put a box of glue sticks near my desk, so I didn't really need to pause the video and go anywhere, but that's fine. So let's just build this up. How about some of this brown paper? How are you guys? How is everyone today? I hope you are doing well. I am actually quite tired because I didn't have a great night's sleep last night. We had a power outage, and on itself it wouldn't probably bother me because I was sleeping. I wouldn't know that we had no power, but for some reason, and we had like 2 power outages, and then twice the power came back, and every time it came back, for some reason, this overhead lighting in my room was just like switching on, and it was such an uncomfortable way to wake up. It really was. And so I kept waking up and then trying to fall asleep again, and then it would happen again. It really was not very pleasant. So I'm hoping I can catch up on sleep tonight. How about some of this Chinese paper, maybe here, to break up this larger scrap. And then there. I'm covering my swatch a little bit, but that's okay, because again, maybe some of this actually. We're just playing, we're just building some interest with the layers. I think it's turning out so cute. Maybe I will take a really small piece of this, because I have some paint here, and then perhaps I will add some in a third spot. And I probably don't need that much more. I was thinking maybe of getting a smaller, even smaller box for my really small, tiny scraps, because in this one they get lost a little bit in the mayhem of all the other scraps. But perhaps if I had a smaller one, because I do really like to use those tiny ones. I think they also build like an interesting background really well. But sometimes it's just harder to find them in a box like this. Okay, I have a need of one tiny piece. So maybe this little ledger. Okay, I think it's very cute. This whole little frame. Alrighty, now I have to figure out, do I want to cut the edges out? Let me see how this would look on the page. Oh, and I love how it stands out because we have muted the background with all of those layers of paint. And now I can actually decide, maybe I want the swatch on the top, because I will have stitching through here. You know what? I think I am going to actually cut around the outer edges of this little flip out, because right now I can't see where it begins, where it ends. Maybe I will even ink around it. It's so cute. I love it. Okay, now I do need something on the other side. So just so I don't keep you guys here for too long, let me just quickly repeat what I did here, but perhaps with some bigger pieces, because this is a part we won't be seeing that much, especially with stitching. You will only be able to like lift up a little bit of this frame. So I will be right back. Okay, so I just quickly decorated the sort of top 2/3 or bottom 2/3 of this piece, because again I'm going to stitch it here, so we will only be able to see this part. And let me make sure that all of those pieces are glued down properly. And I was thinking about either inking the edges, or because I have this coffee here, could I maybe do some like light wash of coffee on the borders, because perhaps this will give me a little bit of not only like the color, but maybe the papers will crinkle a little bit. I honestly don't know if we will be able to see much, but let's just try it and see. So I am just going over the edges here with my brush. Maybe we want it to run just a little bit like that, and also on the other side I'm thinking, just so it's cohesive. And I still may go over the edges with my vintage photo just for a bit of a more pronounced brown edge, but we will see. Now I need to be very careful, because obviously this is plastic, so we do not want to get it too close to a heat tool, but maybe I will try to very gently go over it and we will see what happens. Okay, still not completely dry, but I like the subtle distressed edge that it is giving me. So I think I am going to round the corners so that it again stands out a little bit more from the background. I should probably wait for it to dry completely, but I honestly don't feel like it. Okay, yes, it's very cute, I think. And maybe let me get my vintage photo, if I can find my, oh yes. Again, for just a bit more pronounced edge. But the coffee definitely worked. It gave it this subtle distressed look. This is still actually quite wet, but I think it will dry more when we just work on the rest of this page. I kind of lost track on how long I've been filming because I had to pause so many times to dry things, but that's fine. Okay, so basically the idea is my frame will go here. I will do some hand stitching similar to this, or maybe more like a wrap around the edge type of stitching, like that. Then on this side I would like to have a tack spot, and I was thinking, because this is like the first page, actually like this one, because this is the first page of this journal, I think I maybe will put a small tag in this tag spot with some washi tape samples, so something that I can work with throughout this journal. I thought this would be maybe a nice idea for it. So let me go with, I'm thinking I will go with this one. I like this darker brown because it matches the thread that I have here, and yeah, or would I prefer to have it like this, so then this would close here, because I will be honest, I actually prefer this side slightly to this side. And so will it matter? Actually no, it might even be better, because then the tag will be like here. Let me see if I have any tags. Oh, I have this set that was very, very kindly gifted to me. Maybe I would have a tag like this, or maybe even a larger one. Like this, with my washi tapes. Oh, I like this. And then, because I close my journal this way, it sort of, it wouldn't be maybe falling out, so maybe something like that. I think I like this idea. So what I'm going to do is, so this, let's set it aside, it's drying. And this, how do I want this tag spot? Do I want to just glue on this part, or maybe this and this, just to make it a bit more secure? Let me see. Maybe let's go over both edges, excuse me for the noise, and I will go with wet glue for this one, because I do not trust glue stick that much. Like with things that I am fine with regluing over and over, glue stick is fine, but with things that I actually want to stay on the page where I put them, I would prefer wet glue if possible. Maybe here. Okay, let me just give it a moment, and then, okay, So what I was thinking could go under the window, the flip out window, would be some text. And I actually have these stickers, not this one actually. I think they might be Tim Holtz, I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I don't have a packaging. But these are like, they are so random. They are so random. Just look at them, like those phrases, like side by side. She whispered it softly under the stars. Daughter, 175. Like they are so random. So in my personal, like memory keeping journaling, will that fit? What is it? Oh no, it fits perfectly. Okay. In my personal journaling, I would probably don't know how to use them. I wouldn't know how to use them. So I was thinking maybe we could combine some of those like very random bits and pieces into a poem of sorts and put it under here. But then again, because the background still is quite busy, maybe we could put something there. And then put our words on it. I don't know if I will have anything here. Some of these are quite small. So I could always use a back of something like that. And perhaps just have it a bit off-centered. Maybe something like this actually could work because of the green. I think I like it, but what I would do with it would be to tear the edges so they are not so straight, and then we could assemble our little poem. Now I honestly know nothing about poetry. Why don't I know how to do it? Okay. Alrighty. I've never really read poetry. I love poetic prose, but poetry, I just don't know about poetry and me. Maybe I will actually leave this one edge straight because it has some numbers on it, like a ledger would. And so where's my vintage photo? Here. I would probably have a little less trouble finding things if my desk wasn't such a mess, but alas, that's just what happens when we craft, doesn't it? The desk just gets steadily messier and messier, and so the thing that you can do with it is either clean it up when you're done with the project, which would probably be a sensible thing to do, or start another project and work with what you have around you. All right, so this would be somewhere here, I'm thinking, something like that, and then when we lift it, that's what we would see. So maybe actually I will first glue this piece down, just because then it will be a little bit easier for me to position the stickers with the words. And then my last sort of step in this process will be stitching down the flip out part. I do remember I still want a flower on it. Okay, where's the page situated? Here. I'm thinking, will that be right? Yes. Yes, it will. Okay, let's try with this poetry, shall we? So what do we do? Okay, let's start with I honestly don't know, these are so abstract, you guys. Okay, under cover of the rain, and what I'm going to be doing with them, I will ink up each separate one, and I will use my wet glue to help them stick to the page. Okay. This is actually quite fun, just choosing the most random bits. Under cover of the rain, a memory to hold. I'm just choosing phrases I like. Just like that. And I don't want the whole poem to be visible through the window when it lays on the page. Let's go with our lifetime. Because then you wouldn't feel the need to flip it up, which kind of is the reason for a flip out, I would say. So my flower, my focal point, will probably cover some of it. Under cover of the rain, a memory to hold, our lifetime. Let's go with she had a feeling. I have a feeling that I'm going to be using up a lot of those stickers in this manner. Oops, excuse me, in this manner or in this journal even, because I wouldn't know how else to use them. So let's go maybe with a little bit closer. She had a feeling. Thoughts that whisper to my heart. Will it fit? It will. How is it looking? Like that. I think maybe just two more lines. Thoughts that whisper to my heart, fill my soul. Those kind of do feel or sound like complete sentences, some of those. put together. Fill my soul. Let's go for C, the silver stars, just because I like how it sounds. And maybe, you know, you can try to see the silver stars under cover of the rain. I don't know, you guys. I guess this is all a bit too abstract for me, but I have to say I love the look of it. I do love the look of those stickers, of those little different fonts. Okay, yes, I think that's actually very pretty. So let me see about maybe a flower. Oh, I actually have a flower lying here. Would this perhaps work? Maybe I will actually try to work on these 2 pages for just a moment, so I can see a little bit better. Well, actually, I think it works quite well. I love it. It covers the words, but you still see them. You know that there is something underneath here. Do I want anything else? Any, like, maybe little labels? Or maybe words? Maybe not more words, because I don't want them all to clash with each other. Maybe not. Or maybe something like that. These are some frame stamps, not frame, label stamps that I just stamped on some digital papers that I coffee stained. And maybe just for something different. Will it help the flower stand out, or on the contrary? That's the question. No, maybe actually less is more, which I don't know we could say about this page, being so full of all the different pieces and collage bits and all of that. Let's glue our flower. Right there. I love junk mail envelopes. I think they are one of my favorite supplies or things to use when it comes to junk journaling, because they are free. I get, or my mom at least gets, a lot of them, and then she keeps them for me. I love the windows. I love figuring out different ways to use them. They're really good for junk journaling. Okay, so there is that. And alrighty, so how do we want to do it? Do I actually want to hand stitch? I think, why not? And maybe I will use, I have this thread which I used in the class, not this one doesn't have any, but maybe I could use it here, so it's not so obvious as the dark one. The dark one, that just sounds like something from the Lord of the Rings or something like that. Where's an end to this? Here. And how would I do it? Maybe a little like wraparound stitch. So let me perhaps position this. Do I have any clips? I should have some clips to hold it in place. Okay, let me check. Maybe a larger one, because I think to make my life easier, I'm going to punch some holes before I start sewing. There are actually a few layers here because I am punching through my flip out, then I have the collage papers on both sides, and then there is a journaling card. If you guys remember how we actually made this, oops, the base of this journal, I have some like journaling cards. Well, why am I doing with it with a needle? I think it should be easier for me to do. Well, nope, never mind. It's a bit too big. Let's go back to the needle. So I am just punching holes, not at all going for accuracy. I actually like a bit of a wonky look. Then I am going to take some of this embroidery thread. Sorry for being off camera, but I just need to bring it closer to my eyes so I can thread it. And because I'm not sure how much I'm going to use or need, I am not going to cut it off yet. So how do I... maybe, you know what, maybe I'll actually go from the front for this one. So change of plans again, bring it closer to my eyes. I apologize to any sewers, any actual sewers. I'm clearly not one, and I don't know that well what I'm doing, and this journal is also a bit hard to position on my desk, but let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to go like this, always coming from the front and then going to the back and trying... oh, nope, I need to get rid of the clip. I need to make sure I am not making a huge mess of this. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, so after another break and after another distraction, I am coming back to this. So let's keep sewing. I actually did make a knot here on the start. Let me just keep going back and forth here. I don't have my paper clip now in place, so this should be easier also. And so, as you can see, well, I am not qualified to do a tutorial on it, but what I am doing is just basically going from front to back, and then again kind of in a wraparound style, which will create a nice like border on the top of my page here, and will hopefully be enough to hold my flip out in place. Yeah, it's perfect. I love it. It's perfect in its imperfection, I would say. So let me make a knot on the back. Let's make sure this is nice and secure. And that already gives me some sort of decoration, I guess, for when we get to the back side of this page. I'm going to do 3 knots because these holes that I made were quite big, and I do not want this going anywhere. Okay, I actually really love it. And so this is how this works. You just flip it up like that. Now we have our tag. I don't think I'm going to be adding washi tape swatches in this video because I have to have a bit of a look through my washi tape collection and just figure out what I want. But I actually have this ribbon, which I ordered on a whim. Just I needed something small for my order to be free shipping when I was ordering some pens, I'm pretty sure. And I got this ribbon. Now how do I want this? Like a regular tag style maybe? Something like that. Okay, maybe slightly shorter. So these, I actually have a place to store tiny fabric and lace scraps. But would I want a piece of this? Actually, let's try the tiny one. A piece of this here as a low tab, maybe. Which one is larger? This one, or longer? And I would try to staple it on here, I think. Something like this. Yeah, I think it's sweet. My stapler, here it is. Is it kind of in the center? Kind of. Kind of is good enough for me. Yeah, that's good. That's cute. Okay, and so we have our tag, and maybe, do I have my gold mist here somewhere? I should. Actually, I'm going to take a bit of plastic packaging again and use just a tiny bit of this gold Liquitex acrylic ink, is it? Acrylic ink, yes. This is what it looks like. Because I have some gold splatters on the tuck spot, maybe I could actually add, oh no, this one doesn't work at all. Maybe this brush. Yes, definitely. So I can bring both pages together, and this gives me like a very subtle wash of scraps of splatters. I like it. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for these 2 journal pages. So this is what they look like And then with the tag, which again I'm going to have some washi tape swatches on. So here is a bit of a close-up at what we did. This opens up. I'm not going to be closing it completely yet because, well, I want the splatters to dry. But I love it. I love the color scheme. I love that I have two interactive elements on those two pages. The stitching is so fun and so wonky. I really am enjoying the look of it. And I love that I actually have some machine stitching here as well. So some machine stitching, some hand stitching, some ribbons, staples, all of the other materials, not just paper, and of course a lot of paint. So that's really cool. And yeah, thank you so much for crafting with me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this process, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys very, very soon in the next video. Bye.